Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I am just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Hey, maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos beach. And then there's the El Dorado restaurant and beach club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week, we are going to meet a young lady. Her name is Lucy Mireles. She's built a community of artisans and creators who do pop-up markets and give classes. They sell their handmade art, and they teach others how to make their own art. It's called Hecho a Mano PV, or translated to English, made by hand, Hecho a Mano PV. Also, we are going to be meeting a rock and roller and an actor. His name is Daniel Solis. Daniel is the lead man for what has become a very popular band, actually a fairly new one here in Puerto Vallarta on the music scene here. His band is called Monaco, and Monaco has taken Puerto Vallarta by storm. We're going to find out about Daniel and his Elton John tribute show over at the Palm. It's called Rocket Man. Then we're going to be meeting a man who wears many hats. He's a businessman, he's a builder, he's an actor, he's a director. He's very gifted and he's very talented. His name is Allan Carswell. He'll be joining us too. So buckle up. It's a busy schedule, but before we get to our guests, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 6th day of February, 2024. Well, it's that time of year where contestants get out their chalk and their knee pads. They don a hat and long sleeves and sunscreen, and they pray to the sidewalk gods as they draw murals for prizes while breathing that chalk dust. It's the 16th annual festival, Madonna Nari. It's coming this weekend, February the 9th until the 11th. Let's read here from visitpuertovallarta.com. It says, from Friday, February 9th to Sunday, February 11th, the main square in the heart of downtown Puerto Vallarta will host the 16th annual edition of the Madonna Nari Art Festival. Don't miss the opportunity to see more than 25 participating artists from Querétaro, Guanajuato, Michoacán, Estado de Mexico, which is Mexico City, of course, Guadalajara, Durango, and Puerto Vallarta. They'll be creating beautiful images using chalk, pastel on concrete technique. The Madonna Nari Puerto Vallarta Festival International will award cash prizes to the participants, 20,000 Mexican for first place, 10,000 Mexican for second, and 5,000 Mexican for third place in the adult category, among other incentives provided by the sponsors of the event. The first two winning entries will travel to Santa Barbara, California, to participate in the festival held in that city. The participating works will be judged by professional Santa Barbara artists who will evaluate the different parameters to determine the winning works. And I have a link to that article from visitpuertovallarta.com in the show notes. And if you happen to live in the Santa Barbara area, their Madonna Nari Festival is an outstanding one. It's huge. I have pictures of the festival the year that our friend Adrian Tacano traveled to Santa Barbara, as well as his beautiful entry into that festival. I've got pictures of that in the show notes. It was a great, great festival. By the way, Santa Barbara holds their festival annually, Memorial Day weekend. And like I said, I will have links to that in the show notes. Carnival will be celebrated February 22nd until the 24th in Puerto Vallarta. This is also from visitpuertovallarta.com. Themed Dance, Laugh, and Celebrate. The first edition of El Carnaval Puerto Vallarta will take place from February 22nd till the 24th. The event will feature live music of various genres, mariachi, norteño, DJ, and banda. 4 stages will be located in the streets of Colonia Cinco de Diciembre, downtown Puerto Vallarta, and the Romantic Zone. The Puerto Vallarta Carnival Queen will be crowned at 6 p.m. on Thursday, February 22nd, along with some surprise guests. The pageant will be held at the Los Arcos del Malecon Amphitheater. On Friday, February 23rd at 6 p.m., the LGBTTIQ plus Queen and the LGBTTIQ plus XL Queen will be crowned. The official presentation of the Ugly King will take place at the Lázaro Cárdenas Park in the Romantic Zone. On Saturday, February 24th, the Carnival Parade will start from the Sheraton Bougainvillea Hotel. The Puerto Vallarta Carnival 2024 Parade will go through the streets of downtown Puerto Vallarta, the Malecon, and will end at the Romantic Zone. And for more information, you can check out the official website at El Carnaval Puerto Vallarta. I have a link to that article in the show notes, as well as a link to the El Carnaval PV.com website as well. It's got their program. It's got it all in there. So if you are in town, it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. It's their first annual one. So I'm looking forward to that extra large version of the of the Queen. I can't wait for that. Photos to follow. The So You Think You Can Rise talent show put on to benefit Rise, the Refugio Infantil Santa Esperanza, which is a sweet little orphanage in Colonia Benito Juarez. It's actually not far from Zona Romantica. They have their final stage of their talent show. And if you're going to be in town the 18th of February, February is packed full of stuff, isn't it? You're going to have to do your best to be there. Here's a Facebook post that was put out by our friends Lisa and Billy. Lisa and Billy are the ones that dreamed this up, by the way, if you remember. 3 years ago, we were sitting there with Lisa and Billy, right there on the show. They told us about their plan, and it's really evolved. It's really actually pretty cool to see how it has evolved. Here's what they write. They said, "We are off to a great start with our 3rd season of So You Think You Can Rise variety talent show. The grand finale is going to be one spectacular show hosted by Brandon James and Brenda Gavino. 8 contestants will battle it out for the 20,000 peso grand prize. You won't want to miss this event. Get your tickets now. VIP seats receive a free drink, beer or wine, and early entry with Jordan Walker, vocal winner of Season 2, as the pre-show entertainment. Who will be Season 3 grand prize winner? All proceeds support the Rise Children's Shelter. Do it for the kids. If you can't make it to the grand finale, you can buy tickets and donate them to the employees. Purchase the tickets and then forward me your e-tickets with a note of your intentions to Lisa at risepv.com, or make a donation here, and I've got a link to that right here in the show notes. So she says, thank you for your support, and thank you, Billy and Lisa. I've got links to those for you to purchase your tickets online for those finals over at Teatro Vallarta. Of course, you'll find that, of course, in the show notes, like I said. We're going to be talking with Allan Carswell, who is, among others, Been helping Lisa and Billy over at Rise by coaching these up-and-coming entertainers. Also, Daniel Solis, who I'm going to have on the show, he's also involved in coaching some of the talent. So it's really funny how that happened. Got them both on the same show. How did that happen, Barry? I don't know. Did you plan that out, Barry? I don't know. Anyway, stay tuned. We're going to listen to both of them. Inflation is sweeping the globe post-COVID, and many of you have expressed your concerns about, well, how expensive it is to eat out in Puerto Vallarta nowadays. Well, some of you had asked me, what do I do to cut down on expenses and still have a good time? I've also had some of you ask me, Barry, if you had a week in Puerto Vallarta and you had no interviews, what would you do? If you had somewhere, if you didn't have somewhere to be, what would that week be like? What would you do? So anyway, I've got some ideas for you, and we will talk about those next week. And by the way, that reminds me, some of you discovered there was an issue in last week's episode of the podcast, and you reached out to me like right away, and I want to thank you for that. This was the one about our trip to Mascota, up in the Sierras above Puerto Vallarta. And here's what happened. I'd been working on the blog post for about 3 hours, and I was getting kind of hungry. So I put together all the audio files for the podcast, and what happened was I left out the beginning where I do the news of the day and the end where I wrap things up. And instead, what you got, if you downloaded that file, all you heard was the intro music, and then you heard the interview, and then you heard the outro music rolling over us at the end. It was a mess. It was pretty bad. I'm sorry if you had to hear that. I'm really, really sorry. So anyway, I'm sitting at my favorite Mexican restaurant here in Simi Valley. I'm having chips and salsa, a burrito, a margarita with my wife. And then these messages come pouring in, and I'm reading these messages. They're saying, hey, Barry, you left out the news. Or, hey, Barry, you shortened up the podcast. How could you do that, amigo? Why, did you change the format? Are you getting lazy on us? So anyway, after a very uncomfortable dinner, actually I ordered another margarita. Then I went home and I re-edited the file, and I replaced the bad file with the correct file. So what I'm getting at is, if you're one of those people who got short-ended, and you got the bad version, you want to go back and you want to download that entire file, you want to listen to the news and, listen to it the right way, you can. And, of course, that file has directions on how to get to Mascota from Puerto Vallarta and back, and talks about our experiences, about walking through the town and so forth. So if you got the shortened version, go back, get the entire file, listen to it again. I deleted the bad file. It's no longer there. It's gone forever. But if you want to listen to the whole thing, go on and do that. I'm sorry for the surprise. The fact of the matter is, I should have listened to the file before I posted it. It's just that I was really hungry. I was hungry. So anyway, a couple hundred of you actually downloaded that first bad audio file, and that's the one that I posted before I replaced it with the full episode after dinner. So check that out if you feel shortchanged. Also, just as a point of interest, I was setting up my audio recorder and my microphones for that interview that I had with Christina up in Mascota. And my recorder, my trusty recorder that I've been schlepping back and forth to Mexico for the last 7 years, the recorder that I left on a bus, remember the recorder I left it on a bus? And then finally I got it back after, I had to pay a little bit of a ransom for it. That one. Anyway, that recorder finally died right there in Mascota as I was sitting there getting ready to record our interview. And here's the funny thing, is that the audio that you heard on last week's podcast was recorded on my phone. That's right. I sat down with Christina. I put my cell phone down between the two of us, and then I recorded the entire file in waveform. Wave, W-A-V-E. It's a big, big file. And then I brought that home. I ran it through my special audio editing program, through the little, secret sauce that I've got. And if you go back and listen, and I'm pretty sure that if you listened already, you will agree that it sounds like we were using microphones. It was really, really good recording. So anyway, check it out if you like it. And if you do, let me know if you like it. I have a link to that last week's entire podcast episode in the show notes over at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com, or just go on over to last week's show. So a week from today, Debbie and I are going to be flying into Puerto Vallarta from Los Angeles via Alaska Airlines, $280 each nonstop round trip. Actually, if you are in the LA area, Alaska Airlines is the cheapest flying to Puerto Vallarta right now. We're going to be staying with our good friends Debbie and Ray from Canada. They live in Pitial in the hood. As you know, if you listen to the show, Cheap Debbie has been listening to the show forever, and we love Debbie and Ray. We're going to be using their casa as a hub, and we're going to be sleeping around this time. We're going to be checking out some new places for you to visit when you're ready to leave your hotel or your resort or your condo, or do some exploring in paradise. So we're going to have a great time this trip down. It's going to be a bit of a working vacation. They almost always are. I'm not retired yet from the real estate business here in Southern California, where my wife and I we've been pretty busy selling other people's houses. At the same time, of course, we're getting our house here in Simi Valley ready to sell so we can make our move to Puerto Vallarta by the end of July this year. So we are finding out are there are a lot of people that we know who are selling or thinking about selling their homes and moving out of California to greener pastures, or a lot of them have been selling their rental properties because some of these landlords, they were burnt by COVID. Lots of them, they weren't paid rent for over a year. They don't want that to happen again. So yeah, we've been really busy selling those rental properties. And in the past, it was kind of unusual to list a home, like the day after New Year's Day. But this year we listed 2. When we were in Puerto Vallarta in November, we opened escrow on 3 properties on the same day from a rooftop in PTL. Of course, it's good. It's good to have internet in paradise, I'll tell you that. But hey, I'll get back to you on that internet thing. But it was a good day. Good day selling houses from Mexico. That's for sure. I'm sure a lot of you people who come to Puerto Vallarta do business from do work while you play too. Well, we do too. It's not always fun and games. Anyway, as far as our move is concerned, it's interesting. We're going through all of our stuff. We're throwing out lots of stuff. Old note cards, love notes, knickknacks. We're getting ready for our big garage sale. We're gonna have a big old garage sale blowout extravaganza where everything goes. But we've been donating or giving away to our kids and our friends things like books and board games and albums, CDs, sets of dishes, crystal, cookware, life stuff that we're not going to be taking with us to Mexico. The truth of the matter is that we really don't intend to take very much with us when we move. Just the basics, to be honest. Clothes, electronics, hobby stuff. We both have hobbies to keep us busy besides smoking weed and drinking. It's a little sad, though. Sometimes I'll walk in on Debbie and she'll be sobbing over some sappy card or photo of some dead family member. Or it's weird because the hard truth is that for many of us, unless we make radical changes in our lives like we happen to be doing right now, we may never, ever go through our stuff. Our personal items, our mementos, our diplomas, our wedding pictures, photo albums, things that we collect, things that we regard as important throughout the entirety of our lives are usually, in the end, disposed of by your kids or some other family member, I suppose that it makes us lucky because, it gives us a chance to look at everything the stuff that our kids would probably just take one look at and toss out. And our kids are probably lucky too, because we're doing all that hard work for them. I mean, my mom and dad, I spent weeks emptying out their house. And my wife, I got to say something. My wife, I'm very proud of her. Some of you have asked how she likes learning Spanish using Duolingo. She's using the free version, and she's using the app. And she has 205 straight days of Spanish lessons on that app. She's doing really, really well. I mean, that's a lot, 205 straight days. Anyway, I've been coaching her a bit and helping her with her pronunciation and her verb conjugation, and, irregular verbs and pronouns and stuff like that. But she's doing really, really well. And so would I recommend the app? Yes, I would totally recommend the app. And I would wager that by this time next year, after living in Mexico for about 6 months, she's going to be able to carry on a bit of a conversation. I really do. We plan to meet with our immigration team while we're in town too, and also we will be looking at a place or two to lease for our first year while we look for our permanent home in paradise. Speaking of meeting up, we plan to do 2 open microphone meetups this time down. The first one is going to be Tuesday, February the 13th. It's going to be, we're going to be crashing JR's meet and greet over at Nacho Daddy. It's at 6:30 in the evening. We're going to go till 8:30. So if you're going to be in town February the 13th, stop in and spill the beans. Let us know what you're doing in paradise. In fact, let us know how you save money when you eat out in paradise. Maybe that'll be my new question I'll be asking all you folks. If you have a favorite charity or a business or a bar or a restaurant or something like that that you want to tell us about, come on by and share with lovers of Puerto Vallarta, my listeners, you guys. We don't bite. Don't be shy. We as we always say, listeners to this podcast always have the best ideas and some great stories to share. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get JR to tell us about his Mexican health insurance this time around. So, Cheryl, if you're listening, Cheryl, you and Jim, you need to come on and stop by too, okay? JR can tell you about his medical insurance, his Mexican medical insurance in person, okay? So anyway, look, if you are in town, stop by Tuesday, February the 13th at Nacho Daddy. That's Basilio Badillo 287 in Zona Romantica in Puerto Vallarta. We turn JR's meet and greet into an open microphone podcast from 6:30 until 8:30. Again, February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. Please drop in and tell us your Puerto Vallarta story. Crocodiles are still being spotted on Puerto Vallarta beaches during the day. And we all know that, well, we do know. If you're listening to the show, you need to stay off the beaches at night, especially up north near the resorts, up the beach resorts up there near the airport where the Estero El Salado is, the estuary. And if you're a listener to the show, you know that the North American crocodile that lives in this area are freshwater creatures, but they use the ocean, the salt water, to travel around in sometimes, and if they got to travel distances. So the fact of the matter is that you need to avoid swimming at night in those areas. But now crocodiles seem to be appearing, as I said, during the day. And when they do appear during the day, when they're spotted, the lifeguards, the bomberos, the firemen in swim gear put up a purple flag as a warning. That's right. That pretty purple flag means watch out for crocs. Now, you'd think that they'd have maybe a green flag or maybe a flag with a picture of a crocodile munching on a body surfer, but no, you got to guess. I mean, it's natural, right? Purple equals crocodile. Of course it does. So anyway, watch for that purple flag the next time you are on a Puerto Vallarta beach. And speaking of purple, Valentine's Day is quickly approaching next week, so make your reservations now at your favorite restaurant in paradise. I'm going to be making mine tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you where it's going to be. And next week, I need to read some of your emails. But right now, let's get to our first interview. Puerto Vallarta is blessed with so much talent from lounge and stage performers, singers, actors, rock bands. My goodness, so much good rock and roll and country music too, all genres. And my friend and contributor and friend of the podcast, Ellie Renz. You know Ellie and her husband Russell. They're the couple who emigrated to Mexico by pulling the name of the country out of a hat. Remember that? Well, back in July, oh my God, that's been a long time since I recorded this. Ellie told me, hey, you need to go and listen to this new band. The band's name is Monaco, and they were playing at Captain Don's at the time. And I was able to corner the lead singer, the front man of the band. His name is Daniel Solis. And what an interesting man that man is. Talented, very multifaceted guy. And since July, Daniel's band, Monaco, has taken Vallarta by storm. Currently, you will find them playing Mondays at Jack's, Tuesdays at La Huerta Barbecue and Sports Bar, where they sold out last week, by the way. And also, this coming Tuesday, the 13th of February, according to La Huerta, they are sold out again. So hang on. Make your reservations the following Tuesday, okay? Anyway, on Thursdays, they're at Cafe Roma. Fridays at Oasis. Saturday at the Treehouse. And Sunday, they are at the Palm. So yeah, Puerto Vallarta loves Daniel's band, and so will you. So let's get to know the man, Daniel Solis, the Rocket Man and lead singer of Monaco in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Daniel, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What was your path that led you to Puerto Vallarta?
I'm originally from Córdoba, Veracruz. That's in the Gulf of Mexico, in the south, right? And how did I end up here? It was, I don't know, it was funny. I've been living here for the past 11 years, almost 11 years now. I moved to the States when I was around 14 years old. I did my high school there. I lived in North Carolina for over 6 years. Then I came back and studied music here in Mexico, in Querétaro, to be specific. I was there for a few years, and then I moved to Canada, to Vancouver, and I lived there for over 4 years. And while I was living there, I met some friends that happened to be living here. Like they were back and forward, right? So when I moved back from Vancouver, I stopped and visited them. You know, when I was here, that's the very
big mistake. Big mistake, right?
Yeah, the biggest mistake ever, right? It's funny because back then I used to do music on the side. You know, in Canada, I worked as an assistant manager at a retail store, right? And I was doing music on the side. But when I moved finally to PV, I ended up doing music, you know, for a living. This is what I do 100% of the time, you know.
All right. So when you got here, what did you do? How did you get involved in music when you landed in Puerto Vallarta?
That was almost 11 years ago. I joined this band that was already formed, and they used to do private events like weddings, conventions. They were like a wedding band, what they call, right? And well, I was looking for opportunities and stuff. So I joined the band. I made sure that I learned all the repertoire before even they love the fact that I spoke English, because most of our clientele here they speak English, right? And so that was the very first band that I joined there, and I ended up leading the band.
Wow. So you went from looking for work to leading the band.
Leading the band, that's right. And after 2 years, I was looking for something else, and I felt like I was stuck there because there were they were a little bit stuck themselves. They didn't look forward to what we were, we didn't meet our future together, right? So I ended up leaving the band. Some of the band members joined me on this new project, and I ended up making this other project back in the time. It was a beautiful project called Us Two, which it was a duet with a female partner that I had. And that's what I did for the following 8 years
Where did you do that?
here in the area.
So you just performed wherever you were hired to perform?
Yeah, I would do hotels. Back then I would do hotels only, like Four Seasons, San Regis, Vidanta, all these big names. All
Got
right.
it. Yeah.
And, but then, as usual, everybody, having to work with this society, it was like a marriage, like it could either go well or bad, and things that at some point, I think we both needed a break, from the whole society thing. So, we took our own ways, and that's how it became, Monaco, my formal band right now.
Very good. So you're performing here at Captain Don's. Do you have any other venues where you perform?
I do actually. Around 5 years ago, I started doing shows, and this was the next step for me, because it wasn't just doing private events. It wasn't just doing playing at bars, but we stepped it up, like performing where people are actually paying to see you, right? To get entertained. That was the next level. So at first I joined this theater called Act Two. They have really great shows, and that's where I started doing the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, and some other shows. I even had a country music show, right? And then 2 years, like, it has been 2 years since I moved to the Palm Cabaret, where I really met the expectations I've been looking for. They have really amazing shows. So that's when I started doing the Rocketman show, an Elton John tribute. And I actually started, like getting into the whole character my character was based on the movie, the Rocketman movie. I don't know if you happen to see it.
My wife was just talking about it. I have not seen it, but yeah, fantastic.
An amazing movie. So, I wanted to go for something more upbeat, when he used to have more energy, because Elton John, he's an amazing songwriter, amazing singer, but he wasn't much of a performer. When you see him on concerts, he will be always behind the piano, right? But back in the days, he used to go out from do these crazy moves, his outfits. Oh my God. That was
his big, that was the big deal. I remember that. I remember those days.
Exactly. That was a big deal. And, right now I happen to meet this guy who makes amazing costumes, right? He's from Venezuela. His name is Luis. And he was the one who ended up making my costumes for Elton John.
Fantastic. Now, you still doing the Elton John show over at the Palm?
I'm still I'm still doing it. We just closed the very first season for myself as Elton John. And this coming season, in October, we're going to step it up. We're going to enhance the show, the Elton John show. And I'm actually working on 2 new shows, with Monaco. So we're bringing back the Fleetwood Mac and Eagles show in one show, and also ABBA. But this time I'm bringing 2 female singers, really great singers that I know of, that they're local, in Monaco, my band, and the background doing the whole harmonies, music, it's
going to be great.
It's going to be amazing. Like, it's been already a month and a half since we've been working on it, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's already sounding really, really good. When you're working with professionals, you don't expect anything but
the best.
Exactly.
All right. Well, you guys are blowing us away. I want to thank you for talking with us. Send us info when you're getting started, so that I can make the announcement to everybody. And I'll send the links. Also, you probably have maybe even a couple of YouTube videos of what you do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Right now I'm focusing on the music, but around August, that's when the whole posters and promotions and all that stuff, it's gonna be starting coming out, for
All right.
marketing purposes.
Yeah, of course. Well, we'll be looking for that. I'll embed some of your work in the show notes. Of course, you can find it at www.portovallartatravelshow.com. You've got a Facebook page probably and a website and all that stuff, yeah?
Yes, right now I'm still working on the Monaco page because we're basically a brand.
Got a brand new.
But Daniel Celis or DC Entertainment on Instagram, Facebook. Yes.
Excellent. Okay, I'll have those links in the show notes. You can find it at www.portovallartatravelshow.com. Daniel Celis, muchísimas gracias por hablando conmigo. Gracias.
El placer es mío. Muchas gracias.
All right. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you very much. I've got information about Rocket Man, about Monaco, about the schedules. I've got the Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff in the show notes at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. Thanks so much, Daniel. Next, we're going to be going from the performing arts to the creative handmade arts. Now, many times I get ideas for interviews when I see something pop up on Facebook or on Instagram, something that might catch my attention. And this page happened to catch my attention, Hecho a Mano PV, or as I said earlier, translated, it means made by hand, PV. The page caught my eye, and the group does pop-up craft shows, and they give classes and they teach about creating and making, arts and crafts and so forth. And so I got in touch with the founder and the creator of the group, and we made a plan to get together to see what they do and to find out more about them. And I mean, that's what we do here, right? So some of the events that Lucy and her friend Josh are going to be talking about have already come and gone, right? I recorded this about a month and a half ago, but I left the conversation in so that you can hear what they do and where they do it, where they do these pop-up classes and shows. So let's go right now to my favorite margarita place, Restaurant San Lucas, where the audio is just right for a podcast, and so are the margaritas. Let's talk art and creativity and pop-up craft shows with Lucy Mireles of Hecho a Mano PV in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Lucy, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path that led you here to Puerto Vallarta?
Okay, I am from Monterrey. I've been living out of Monterrey for more than 15 years. I moved first to Guadalajara. I was there as a waitress for 6.5 years until comes up an opportunity to come and help a friend with her business in a high season. It was going to be only for 1 month, and it came out very good. And I fell in love with the town because it is a very small town comparing with Monterrey, where I am from. And it has a beach, and I always been in love of small towns.
Right.
So I fell in love of Puerto Vallarta, came back only to grab my stuff and move here.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So you left Guadalajara after being there for 5-6 years. You said?
Sí.
6 years.
6 years.
So wow. So, and just what did you do when you came back?
When I came back, I started working in clubs and everything I could find.
Yeah.
Then I get into a casino as a dealer too. And
how's that? What's that like?
I'm sorry, what?
What is that like? What's that like being a dealer in a casino in Puerto Vallarta?
For me, it was very stressful. A lot of numbers.
Yeah.
I'm good at it, but it requires a lot of focus, which I'm not good at.
Oh, really? So, yeah, I mean, do they just throw you right in? Do they train you? How do they do that?
Yes. Yeah, you have a very hard training, long. months.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they want to make sure you can count.
Yes.
Right.
But it's fun. It's just too stressful for me.
Right. Okay. What can you share? What club you worked at?
Yeah. The casino. It was the Emotion in Galerías.
Which one was it?
Emotion.
Emotion. Where's that?
En Galerías.
In
Plaza
Galerías. All right. Okay. So I'm sorry. That fascinates me. I just needed to hear about that.
Thank
so
you.
Tell me what else?
And then after that, I went back to clubs to, waitress, hostess, whatever I could.
Right.
And then I have a quick trip to Monterrey for a week. And then was when COVID hits.
Oh, yeah.
And I get stuck there for months. And I lose my apartment. The landlord take my stuff out.
Oh, no.
Literally, in
Oh,
garbage
wow.
bags and stuff. So I came back with nothing. After like 3 months stuck there, and
what was that like? Was it a big lockdown there, or was it just was it really was lockdown tighter than they were here in Jalisco?
I think it was worse.
Interesting.
I couldn't follow a lot what was going on here, but there was awful.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So I make my way back to Guadalajara first. Then I came back on a ride with a friend.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going. You want to come back and stay with me while you stand back on your feet? And I'm like, yes, sure. So I came back with my friend and started all over. With 1 month with her, 1 week with another friend, 2 weeks with homeless.
Yeah. That's the way you got to do it, right?
I started cleaning houses and teaching kids because there was no school when I came back. So I was teaching kids and going to their house or online.
Nice.
And baking desserts. My daughter and I used to sell desserts at the streets or in the markets that we find around.
Uh-huh.
And then we met Josh. Yeah, and it's when we start. He started with Josh Olotl. I start leaving little by little the houses because it was too much work, much pain in my back because it was several houses a day.
Wow.
And then my kids went back to school little by little, so I end up with no kids, no houses. It was only the desserts, and we start with his tie-dye, and is when we start participating as expositors in markets and bazaars and stuff. But we couldn't find the right market for him, and not only him. But I found a couple of more good artists, talented artists that I felt horrible because they have no sales, and their product was amazing, their art and everything they do. So we came out with this idea of make our own kind of market, but no market because we want to focus more in art or artisania.
Yeah.
Crafts with the stuff that requires talent, love, heart,
Yeah. Time. Yeah.
Yes.
Because art is everything. It's all of that, right?
Yeah.
It's
something you can't find in the store, something you're not going to see at the same anywhere else.
Right. So, for example, Josh's tie-dye is very, very unique, and it's also very complicated.
Yes, it is.
And you have, and then you have others. You have some people who do alebrijes.
Oh, yeah. She's a Luna. Luna is an amazing painter and sculptor.
Yeah.
And she's only 22 years old. She's super talented. She's making this class of alebrijes. Alebrijes is, you have an idea what's alebrijes?
Yeah, but tell everybody what it is.
Is the spirit protector in the Mexican culture. It's a mix of like 3-4 different animals. It could be anything. A bear, eagle with snake, something. You make your own alebrije. Well, that's what is going to be the class of.
Very good. Now, alebrijes, they're not just sculpted, but they're painted, right?
Yes.
And it's a specific kind of painting. When you see them, you can recognize what it is right away. Yes or no?
Sometimes, not always. Sometimes
Yeah?
it takes you a minute to find what it is and what is hiding in the shapes.
Very neat. So she's doing a class,
Yes.
and that is going to be
That is going to be on Tuesday, the 20th, in Casa Guadalajara, this amazing restaurant in Versalles. It's in Avenida Fluvial. They have mariachi every single day.
Yeah.
They have happy hour, but it's a very unique place because it's covered of Mexican culture, and the dishes it's Mexican and gourmet, very very good. Even the desserts are traditional and delicious. Everything there.
Well, you spent 7 years in Guadalajara. They're pretty authentic, huh?
Yes, and actually that restaurant it brings the idea from the restaurant that I work in Guadalajara.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's the same concept, it's the same idea, the same everything.
Right.
And I understand they are very good friends.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
bringing the idea was intentionally. And so I'm very happy and I can't believe we have made it there.
It's a nice, that's a very, very, it's a great idea. Not only are you having classes and, sharing art and teaching people, but teaching them a little bit about the tradition and everything else. But you're also introducing them to a new restaurant maybe that they've never been to.
Yes, of course, because that is the intention. The base, basically, why Hecho Mano was created is to lift each other up. Because I truly believe that if we change the way that you consume daily, we can make it. Like we are not in a bad situation because we are in Mexico or we are. No, I think that buying your soap or your shampoo from this little girl that make it at home, it's gonna help your pocket because you're gonna use less than what you buy in the pharmacy, in the grocery store, and plus the plastic, the damage to the planet. It's a chain. It's everything together. Like from the soap to what you eat in your breakfast, what you hang in your walls, what you wear in your clothes every day, your shoes. There is a girl that makes pretty shoes too that I buy from her. She has never shown up in my shows, but I keep buying from her because her product is good. I'd rather buy my shoes from her than in Liverpool or something like that,
Yeah. Wow, okay. So who else do we have in your group?
We are like almost 50 in my
really?
group, yeah. All kinds. We have wire wrappers. We have...
All right, so tell everybody what is wire wrapping. Tell everybody about that.
Wire wrapping is when they make jewelry from scratch with the copper or silver or any kind, but they do it with Twizzlers, with their fingers, with whatever they have, and that's wire wrapping.
That's wire wrapping. With stones
with
too?
Stones, with wood, sea glass, with it.
Yeah, sea fossils,
Gemstones.
but especially around here, sea glass. People find sea glass here, and they can learn how to wire wrap and make a beautiful piece of jewelry for themselves, right? That they can bring home and say, "Hey, look what I know how to do."
Oh yes. We have somebody who joined our community last year around November, and he finds what he does is not by him, but it's found by him. He goes in places in Nayarit, I guess, or all around here, and find these geodes, and brings it to our shows.
He finds these incredible geodes that he actually goes up into the hills of Nayarit, up into the mountains. He digs them all up by his hand, like a lot of rock hounds do in Oregon, which is where I'm from. It's Joshua, by the way. And some of the stones he finds are absolutely incredible. You look at the outside, it looks like just like a slightly translucent stone, but then when you crack into the inside, it's full of geodes, of terminations of crystals of quartz with pink, with purple, sometimes grape shot crystals, which are like round crystals. Just absolutely incredible things, all found right here in the dirt of our beautiful home.
Fantastic! Wow. Okay, so that's so you're gonna have a wire wrap class. I'll bet you. I'm guessing, right? Maybe sometime
yes,
along the way.
we are gonna.
Oh,
Yes.
why not? Right? I mean, what a great idea that is. Any other people in your group you want to talk about?
Yes, about the classes coming up, we have besides Luna, Joshua Lottle Art. So his tie-dye class. He's gonna teach spirals and scrunches.
Spirals and scrunches. All right, all right.
It's
Yeah, cool.
techniques, two different techniques of tie-dye. He's going to provide the materials. It's going to be next week after the anniversary of Hecho, Mano. He's going to have 3 different options of prices and items. Includes all the material they're going to need. The more affordable option is 800 pesos with no item. You bring your own 100% cotton item, your shirt or shorts or whatever you want to dye. And you bring your own item. Everything else is included. Your glass of wine or 2 beers. And the other option, the second option, is 900 pesos, includes your blank and all the materials, your glass of wine or 2 beers. And the third option is 1,200 pesos, but that one is you're going to take home a shirt made by a Mexican designer from my group. It's Tatiana Torres. She make the blanks for him, and you can take it and dye it yourself for 1,200. Yeah. Kimonos, button-down shirts, yeah. So that's the third option with you're going to support 2 local artists and get the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, fantastic.
Learn from them. And
So where
meet
is that?
them.
Where is that going to be?
Joshua Lottle's class is going to be at Captain Don's, which is here in Cinco de Diciembre, Honduras.
Honduras, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, Captain Don's is a lot of fun. If you've not been to Captain Don's, it's a great place. And the good food right near the beach. So you got to get on down there and check out Josh's tie-dye class. Any others that you have planned coming up, or
The classes, we're just waiting for the final details to start like promoting correctly, to clear all the questions.
right?
But yes, we have at least 5 more different artists making the classes with different stuff, each one.
So just go to your Facebook and just type in Hecho Mano PV, and you will find it. Make sure you like the page, and that way, when they're going to have their next pop-up, wherever it's going to be, you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to say, hey, do I want to learn how to do this? Or maybe I've never been to this restaurant. Let's go check this out. So this is coming up your 1-year anniversary for Hecho Mano.
Oh, yes.
All right, so that's pretty exciting.
Oh, yes. Like I said before, I can't believe it that we make it 1 year, so good.
Yeah.
And that we have so many places inviting us. And I'm very thankful with the support of all the community in Puerto Vallarta, all the expats that believe in us and support us.
Yeah.
Speaking of places that invite us, we are always looking for new places. So if you are in Vallarta and you see a spot that you think would be an excellent place for us to have a market, feel free to reach out and let us know. We'd love to get in contact with the owners or with the managers and see if we couldn't set up a time for us to meet with them and possibly bring our market to their place.
Yeah, or if you have a restaurant, or if you've got a place that you happen to be listening, reach out to Josh or send me an email. I'll get a hold of these people for you if you can't do it yourself. But you can, just go to Hecho Mano PV and send them a message. You guys have a Instagram page too?
Instagram, Facebook. We're also in Google too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good. All right. You're all over the place. So we're going to be
Yes.
able to find you. And, of course, I'll have the links. You'll find it in the show notes at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. Just type in Hecho Mano in the search bar underneath, underneath everything. You'll find this particular episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. Let's leave Hecho Mano just for a minute here. Let's go into
Yeah.
town and let's talk a little bit about food. Let's talk about places that you like to eat. Now, originally we were going to meet in a place. We're going to meet in a place closer to where you guys live, and you told me that in PTL there's a place in the parking lot, in the underground parking lot under the plaza. There's a coffee shop. And I'm all, no, are you serious? And I went down there, and there is.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
And it's very cute. Well, I started driving like 2 years ago. And, well, it was a very old little car. And I was trying to find the safest place to live it while I do my shopping for my little bakery, which it was almost every day. So that's what it was. And I am a coffee junkie. I love coffee. I always have to have my coffee in my hand. So there you go. It was the perfect parking lot and the coffee shop right there. And I found out that it wasn't only the good place. It was nice people and the coffee was good.
It's also really good, and it's really nice and cool down there too because it's underground.
It is, and it's quiet too. It's very, it's. You'd think it'd be like
quiet.
awful and it would smell like a garage. It doesn't. It's really nice down there, and there's you can get a dessert down there too, right?
Oh yeah, right next door to them there is this Los Paletukis. I remember that name because it's very
It's a cute
weird
little name,
and funny.
yeah.
Paletukis.
Yeah.
Those are popsicles with natural ingredients and gourmet like gansito cake and stuff like that. But also very good and cheap.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right, so look at nice little place and cheap if you're in PTL.
Yeah, don't get Magnum. That people is already very rich. Get
Yeah.
those. They are delicious and natural.
There you go. There you go. I love it. All right, so if you were going to go for breakfast somewhere and you weren't going to cook it yourself, where would you go?
Okay, just the first. Yeah, the birria la leña. There is a very cute spot in. I don't know if you know this neighborhood, La Lija.
Tell me.
La Lija is up above from Pitillal.
Uh-huh.
Bueno, it's Pitillal, then Guapinole neighborhood,
Yeah.
and after
And then
La Lija.
La Lija. Okay.
Yeah, right in one side of that stadium, there is this street stand, the birria a la leña. How do you
Okay.
say leña? Just wood smoke birria.
Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. So this, what makes this so special? What makes this place so special?
They bring the meat from Tuito.
Really?
It's
All
fresh,
right.
good meat from
Wow.
Tuito. Yes.
Wow.
And they
All right. So that is okay. So that is, and by the way, that would be, you got to go somewhere, right? You got to leave your safe little hotel and go up past Guapanole and up in Colonia. What is it again?
La Lija.
La Lija. All right. How about lunch? Where would you go for lunch?
Lunch. Ooh, tortitas marichuy.
Where's
Those
this?
are
Where's
right in
this?
Francisco Villa, near Santa Maria. Barrio Santa Maria, that's the neighborhood.
Okay.
But it's on Francisco Villa. They
Yeah.
have little tortitas of telera bread they have pork, ham, panela cheese, and different options. It's very cheap too, like 60 pesos each tortita. And they are very, very good.
Tortitas.
Yes.
Okay, and the name of that place again is?
Tortas Marichuy.
Tortas Marichuy. I just want to go because it's a funny name. So far, you've given me a bunch of funny names.
Maybe that's the way it
Maybe
sounds
that's what-
from me.
Maybe you eat that way. No, you eat that way. You like funny food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably.
funny names and funny food.
Litibu.
Like what?
That's my favorite bitch, Litibu.
Oh, okay. See, there you go. Where is? I know where Litibu is. Up in Nayarit, right?
Yeah, almost to
Yeah.
Punta de Mita.
Oh, yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
beautiful.
All right, there you go, everybody. That's her favorite place to go for a day trip, right? Am I right?
Bitch, yes.
There you go. All right. So there you have it. How about dinner? If you're going to go out and have a dinner somewhere, where would you go?
Well, it depends. It's,
What if
it's everyday
fancy? What if
dinner.
it's a fancy? Like
It's a fancy dinner.
an important meal.
We go to like Cliff in our anniversary.
Oh, like Cliff. Oh, I love that. Tell me about. Do they have like those little raccoons running around down there? Do they have that?
Not on the Cliff.
No. Okay.
No, but you can find the raccoons everywhere in the little mapache tacos there in Marina.
They're in the marina.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They've got raccoons like crazy at Mapache Tacos down by the marina.
Uh-huh.
And then they also have crabs, like the land crabs. just wandering through the restaurant.
Yeah, the big ones, scary
Okay,
ones.
all right. Yeah, everybody, let's go to the marina. Let's go to the marina. All right, right on. All right, so what if it wasn't a fancy? Where would you go?
Oh, if it's not fancy.
We really like that Pacho's Tacos or the Pacho's Nachos.
Oh, yeah. La Brasa is the name of the place. It's in Pitillal. Actually, I asked them last night if they have a Facebook page because I want to leave a review. They are so good. They sell this famous for Josh because he loves them. Pachos, which is instead of nachos, it's called pachos because they are made with papas. French fries.
French fries.
French fries for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's pachos, it's French fries with arrachera meat and cheese.
That's it.
And that's it,
And
yes.
That's it. That's all you
But
need.
they sell more stuff like burgers, hot dogs,
Yeah,
chicken
I
wings.
saw them. I saw they sell the burgers there. So I saw that
And
because I was
that-
looking them up the other night.
But that guy they are very good. One time they make a little mistake in my order, and it was raining. He couldn't find a delivery guy to bring what they forgot, and the owner did it himself in a motorcycle in the rain.
No way.
He
All right.
went super embarrassed and apologizing, and I'm like, no, stop. Yeah, they are very, very good. They have very good food, very good service, and if something goes wrong, like everything everywhere happens, they take care right away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
and we
all right.
recommend it a lot.
And the name again is
La Brasa Burgers
La
at Pitillal.
Brasa. All right. Okay. So I was
Oh,
looking. I
yeah.
was looking up burgers in Pitillal just the other night. And I went, this looks good. And the pictures. The
Yes.
pictures were blowing me away. I was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to walk. in the middle of the night, I was going to walk.
See? Wow.
Yes, I was.
Great.
Okay. No, listen. Believe me, now I'm going to go.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop me.
Yes.
And it's just for one burger, you guys. Okay. I still eat Mexican food. Don't send me emails. All right. Don't send me emails. If you, we already talked where you're going to go. You're going to go to Lilliboo,
Litiboo.
if you got a day off. What if you had 3 days off? Where would you go?
Definitely Maito.
You would go to Maito.
Oh, yes. This is where we run every time we have a chance.
Do you really?
It's-
Do you have a favorite spot where you stay?
Yes, we love El Rinconcito.
Yeah.
You have really two options. More if you really look, but no. El Rinconcito is the way to go, yeah.
Yes, it is.
They are amazing people.
Yeah,
very
Fernando,
calm
is lovely,
place.
lovely man.
Have
yeah,
you been there?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Babel Bar is there now. Yes, I saw that. I got to go see Arancha, see how she's doing. What if you were going to give a word of advice to somebody who's coming to Puerto Vallarta for the first time? What would that word of advice be?
Okay, it will be go find the gems yourself. Stay away from the tours, not because of anything bad, but it's beautiful in the not showing places. I don't know how to say that in the right way. A lot of hidden gems, the diamonds in the rough. Yeah, go hike, go enjoy away from the tourists.
Yeah.
Puerto Vallarta and its people, it's beautiful in every way.
In every way is correct. And so are you, I've got to say. You
Thank
both.
you.
You both are really great people. And, it takes, I think, a little vision, to do what you're doing and to get these people together that have a lot of talent and yet really don't have a lot of, maybe not a lot of places to be able to show the things that they have. And, I think, again, for people who are coming to visit or people who live here, they need something to do.
It breaks
Right?
my heart when I read those posts of people asking where to get good souvenirs, and tons of answers saying go to Walmart. Dude, that's not handmade.
No.
Like it breaks my heart because what they do, it's like you're not gonna find it anywhere else. It's from Puerto Vallarta, made by hand by someone that
Exactly.
lives there. That is the real thing.
It's the real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thousands of pesos in clothes that it was made with a machine. Like, come on, they have enough, and it's not that cool.
Right.
There's
right.
10 people with the same shirt, you
Yeah.
know. A lot of stuff like that. The furniture too, like, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, take a look at when you get a chance. Like I said, like the page, and take a look at the artists and see what the artists do, and reach out to them, of course. And of course, you know where to find it. Again, on Facebook and on Instagram, and of course, you can find it in the show notes at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. Lucy, am I missing something? Is there anything that you wanted to add before we say goodbye today?
Missing, I don't think so, but thank you very much for the opportunity and for believing in us. And thank you. That's all I have.
Well, I'm glad to have met you both, and I want to thank you, Josh, for coming and chiming in, helping out when we needed you most.
Of course.
And Lucy, I thank you for what you're doing, and thanks for allowing me to introduce you and introduce Hecho, Mano PV to my listeners. I truly appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you to show us to all the people that haven't seen us, and thank you very much for seeing us.
All right. Thank you so much, Lucy, and thank you so much, Josh. I have links to Hecho Mano PV in the show notes. Like their page, and that way you'll get pinged when they plan their next event. Next, we are going to be talking with Allan Carswell. Now, we talked about the So You Think You Can Rise talent show earlier, and as you may know, Lisa and Billy asked me as a favor to rise if I would allow some of their sponsors to the talent show to come on my show as an added bonus for them, for being such generous and kind human beings. And of course, I said yes. And over the last few years, I've had some of these sponsors on the show, and I gotta say, they've been some of the most interesting people that I've had the opportunity to meet and to interview. And Al Carswell is one of these people, and I'm sure that you are going to agree. So let's go back to that restaurant that we just left. Let's go back to Restaurant San Lucas on the corner of Lázaro Cárdenas and Constitución, upstairs, above the noise of the street below, to my little paradise. So let's meet the very interesting and the very talented Al Carswell in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Allan, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell my listeners a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path that led you to Puerto Vallarta?
Well, I'm originally from Calgary, Canada, and I've been here about 8 years. I originally actually came here on a business conference for the first time. I'd been coming to Mexico for many, many years. Before that, I have some family in Mexico, but just hadn't found my path to Puerto Vallarta till it was sort of a coincidence having a conference here.
And so when was that?
That was, I guess that was about nine years ago.
Oh, so you just you went to the conference and then you stayed. It almost come on. I mean, really, it took that long, huh?
I mean, I'll tell you what, I went to this conference. I had a little bit of stressful stuff going on in my life, and then I needed a vacation. And I thought, I'm going to go back and explore. The town seems kind of charming. It sort of impressed me. It was more than what I was kind of expecting. So I said, I'm going to go back there and check it out.
Yeah, and you did, and you stayed. How did that happen? I mean, how'd that work out?
Well, it was kind of weird. I think I mentioned to you, I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur, and that's not necessarily a good thing. And
yeah.
And the second time I was here, I happened to run into a real estate agent, and they told me about an opportunity in a condo building I was staying in, and I ended up buying a property. It was a really unique situation. It was actually a foreclosure. There's almost no foreclosures here. And
yeah.
Had I known how risky it was at the time, I might not have done it, but I'm a geologist, so I'm sort of wired to take risk and evaluate things on that basis. And so, I kind of bought a property here before I'd really even spent time to get to know the town. But I could see what was happening in this town, and just kind of knew it would be a good place to be.
Yeah. All right. So you are also an entertainer. You are a singer.
Yes. So when I was in university, I actually started my as a music major, and I studied music at the University of Calgary, and ended up switching my major to geology. But kind of played, and those were all my electives through. It was a great balance for my science stuff, performing, and so when I came back here, once I was here for a number of years, I was actually hosting karaoke at a little bar, and someone told me that I should audition at the theater, and they ended up getting cast in a show like right away. And now I'm actually this Tuesday, we have the 150th show at Mamma Mia, which is at the Act 2 Theater, and I'm Sam in Mamma Mia, and I have actually been in 150 consecutive shows in that show.
Dude, wow. Oh my God, where do you find the time? I mean, come on, that's crazy.
Well, I think people that know me know that I'm one of those people. I don't. Once I commit to something, I'm in 100%. So I'm very careful when I say I'm going to do something. I'm very careful that I'm either kind of in or I'm out. But if I'm in, I'm in all the way.
All the way. That's fantastic. Now, you actually you were introduced to me by Billy and by Lisa over at Rise, and they told me that you kind of helped them out last year when they were starting their So You Think You Can Rise thing. And could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, I had, after living here for 5 or 6 years, I really, I think it's really important that people that live here, especially, foreigners from other places, that it's important that we integrate into the society, and we, as you see that everything's growing up here and the cost of rent's going up, and the locals that were here can't start getting pushed further out because the rents are going higher. I really believe it's our responsibility to help kind of, raise everyone up, so to speak, and so they feel a part of it. They're not just sort of being displaced by it. And in that regard, I'd been kind of looking for things to get involved with, and ended up having a beer at a little local bar. I think I was sitting at Apache's, and ended up talking to some woman beside me who was a volunteer with Rise, and telling me about this place. And I said, that sounds exactly like the kind of thing I want to get involved with. So I actually went and toured the orphanage and stuff before any of this happened with the talent show. Yeah. And once I saw what they were trying to put together, I approached them and asked them if they needed some help, I also own some bars and restaurants in Canada, so one of my places is a performance venue, so I have some experience, kind of be on both sides of the stage, sort of putting on things and also being on the stage. And so in that first year, it was very successful, and I could see it had a lot of momentum. And but I could tell you one little story. It was last year I'd met with them, and when I'd realized they were doing the grand finale at Puerto Vallarta, which is it's like a canyon. I mean, that place,
huge. It's
huge, and I said, you picked that for your first year doing an event? I'm like, wow, okay, let's see what we can do here. So I met with them at the cigar factory just down the street here, and just as we were meeting, and Lisa might kill me for telling this story, but we were just about to meet, and she got a phone call, and then I could see that she was kind of emotional, and I said, oh, do you need, that something had happened during this call? And then she told me that, at the orphanage, the kids there can only stay for a certain number of years, and once they hit, I forget if it like 14 or 15, something like that,
the age out of
they have to leave.
Yeah.
And this one kid that had been here, had been there for many, many years, had to go, and she was in tears, and I remember just giving her a hug, but at the same time thinking, wow, these are amazing people. You could just see both with Lisa and Billy what it meant to them, and the heart and the passion. And I said, this is exactly the kind of people that, not only the kind of charity, but when you have people like that involved with it, so that's really what kind of grabbed me to get more involved.
They're amazing. They are totally amazing. And when I went up there, it's actually what they're doing for those kids, I think is fantastic. And it's easy to get involved with Rise, and I'll have a link to Rise in the show notes. You can find it at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com, of course, in this episode here with Allan Carswell. But remember, there's all kinds of ways to get involved, but this is totally a wonderful way to get involved. Teaching kids English, you can, just be there for them. I think that's really great. So this year, the event was even better and bigger. It was quite an event.
Yeah. So this year, after talking about last year, through conversation with Lisa and Billy, I became the artistic director of the shows. So we did the 5 preliminary shows at the Palm, which I think we sold out every one of those shows, and we. Through a group of other people involved, like Rob Burton and Jan Dorlin, we talked a lot about things, and we got more coaches involved and judges involved, but it was a lot of work. Every show we had a different host, we had different judges, we had the same coaches followed the contestants through, but when you go back through it, I mean, it was just those preliminary shows, 5 different hosts, 15 judges, and having to meet with all of them and produce all those shows, and then of course the big show at Teatro Vallarta. I don't know what the final number was, but it was sure close to 800 people in that theater, and
you almost filled it.
Yeah, and it was a great event, and we had so many volunteers, not only helping on the stage, behind the stage, through the process, but also how, as a performer here, how all the performers in town really stepped up, not only to perform in these shows and in the finale, but also, being judges and coaches and all volunteering their time. Which really helped, especially in the finale where we had the finale. It was the finale for the talent show for the people involved with that. But we had our special guests. We had Enrique de Allende and Effie Presero, and Levi Christ was in town, who is a Tony Award winner, and he came and performed. And so all those things helped us sell tickets and raise the profile. But they all do it because they. You can see they're all passionate about the charity. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of heavy lifting there, and boy, everybody stepped up. That's fantastic. It's so good to see. Now, you've performed in Mamma Mia. Are you doing any other things around town? I've been, I've been so busy. My this entrepreneurial bug I have keeps. I'm still running. I've got some bars and restaurants in Canada and other businesses that I'm managing from here. And I've taken on some more real estate ventures and opportunities. And so this year I've been really just focused on, Mamma Mia. Like I said, I can't believe it's our 150th show coming up. We're doing crazy, that twice a week right now. And then, of course, It's been pretty intense through the last couple months here with Rise, and because it wasn't just the one show; it was the 6 shows altogether, and all the things associated with that. So I figured that was enough for me to kind of focus on my artistic side of things, through those. Good for you. Those avenues. What's your favorite colonia here in Puerto Vallarta? You like the romantic zone? What do you like? I actually. When I first moved here, like a lot of people, I had a condo right in the romantic zone, and then I think everyone realizes that it's a little crazy living in the middle of
sure can be, huh?
of tourist town. And so I was fortunate enough to I actually have a house in Gringo Gulch, which I think is, in my humble opinion, it's such a fantastic area because you're close to everything, but you feel like you're just enough removed. I wake up every morning, all I hear is kind of the river and birds, but it's it's only a few minute walk to go to my one of my favorite coffee shops or whatever. So it's
what's your favorite coffee shop? Let's talk a little bit about food. What's your favorite coffee shop?
I'm partial to Dee's coffee shop. I mean, Dee's from Calgary originally.
Is she really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I believe she is. I
wouldn't know.
Don't quote me on that 100%, but I think I'm right on that one. But I have to admit I do have a bit of a weakness for Starbucks too. So I try to support the local businesses. But
every once in a while we'll see you there, huh?
But they make it's a great place to, if you want to do a little work on. I'm always working on my laptop and whatever. So I also have another idea for a new business here with maybe a place where people can have a good coffee and find a little quieter spot to work and do a Zoom call. So that's a bit of a future project I'm working on.
Okay. But you are working on a project. You told me you're working on a project. What's going on with you're building some sort of a food place, aren't you?
Yeah, so I ended up this real estate bug I have. I ended up buying a property on it's actually on the corner of Bastillo Badillo and Jacarandas. And it's an old building, and if anyone's been to Calgary and been in the bars that I have, there, one of them is in a 1911 house, the other is in a 1908 building, and they're in real historic places. And I find as Vallarta's growing up, I kind of miss a lot of there's great places here, great bars and restaurants and venues, but a lot of them are in more newer modern buildings. And so I had purchased this building. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it, and every time I went back, I just said, this is such a cool vibe that it really needs to be a space where people can, have a beer and enjoy things. And so we've been working on that, and it's going to be opening imminently, I would say. It's called Las Terrazas. And the concept is it's a collection of associated businesses within the same building. So there'll be some different places where you can get food, get drinks. There's some retail in there, and there'll be so whatever you're looking for, you can find. And the concept being that there'll be there's like a courtyard area where you can go, and so you can try different things, but there'll be a great outdoor space and a lot of open air balconies and terraces to I think in Puerto Vallarta, just people want to be outside, and so we're just on the cusp of that. We were a sponsor for the Rise event as well, and so people probably saw in one of our videos that the first two businesses that are opening, there's the Christian Banderas clothing company. Christian's got his little store he's opening in there.
Nice.
And then there's also the Tunnel Bar. We're of course located just about 1,200 feet from the small tunnel.
Right.
And so there's the people that involved with that have created a really amazing space, and people that know a lot about the industry. There's Roger Allan and Brian Stocks, which people would know from Anonymous and 161, and Tamale and Sugar Baker, who are involved with Tamales Tours, and so they're bringing a lot of their own tilt on things. And it's going to be an exciting. So those will be the first two places that'll be opening imminently, and the rest will kind of come as things as things are ready.
People think, wow, this is a pretty cool place. I think we're gonna come and open up here. Well, I will have. I do have. Look in the show notes. I have links that'll take you to Las Terrazas, and remember, it's just straight up Bastillo Badillo. So make sure that you go and visit them when you come into town. You should probably be open by then, I imagine, right?
Oh yeah, we'll be. It'll be. I haven't picked an exact date, but it's
any minute now.
It's pretty imminent here. So yeah,
Go
we're
for
excited.
you.
We're excited about it.
All right. Well, let's talk about other places like around town. If you were going to go date night somewhere, what would be date night for you?
You know, it's kind of funny. My life is a little. It's a little boring. I tend to work a lot. My partner works a lot, and we tend to kind of, looking for a place that we can eat after 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And it still surprises me a little bit in PV that for a place that's bustling so late that there's not a lot of...
It is unusual, isn't it?
Of late night places. You can quite often find us at Los Muertos, or their sister restaurant, the Granero, which is a great spot. And Connor and Stephanie are good friends of mine. Stephanie actually has been, she's my stage wife in Mamma Mia.
I know that.
So they're great people, and they've got great businesses there. And they're open till midnight, so that's a big thing for me. But, I certainly... I'm a little partial to, maybe it's because, my house is in Gringo Gulch, that I like exploring some of the places on the other side of the river from the Zona Romantica. But there's so many great places popping up everywhere. There's this great little Italian restaurant that just opened down the street from us, I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, but it's the Bogadan de Pastas.
Ah, yes, I saw it. I walked right past it. It's over on as on
Libertad
Insurgentes
there.
turns, right?
Yeah,
down
just
Libertad.
in the Libertad there.
Yeah.
And the couple that owns there, one of them's from Argentina, the other is Mexican, and they make all their pastas in house. And I at first was not wanting to tell people about the place because there's only like 4 tables in there.
Yeah, somebody found it. Let me tell you, they were packed when I walked by there the other night.
But, it's places like that where you just see the entrepreneurship here where, I just happened to walk into that place. I think I might have been one of their first customers. They weren't really open, and just to see what they're doing. And you see that in this town. I just love the sense of entrepreneurship where people open businesses and bring their... the style of pasta they have there it's more the Argentinian style, so it's a little different from other places. And you see that with a lot of the businesses here where people will bring, a lot of people are from other places, whether it's other parts of Mexico or different countries, and bring something that adds, continues to add exciting things to make Puerto Vallarta just a better place to be.
Yeah, it is amazing. And it's amazing how much good Italian food is in this town. Are you a sushi eater? Do you like sushi?
It's funny you say that. I love sushi. And in fact, the one thing I say to people, it sounds weird maybe for people that haven't been there, but being in Calgary, there are a ton of good sushi restaurants. We have a very, very strong Asian community pretty much all across Canada. And so where I live in Calgary is right outside of, what they would kind of call Chinatown, I guess, technically. But it's full of Vietnamese and sushi and Japanese, Korean restaurants, you name it. And I find when I come down here, the thing I miss the most is the sushi. And it's funny because Calgary is like super landlocked and way far from the ocean.
Yeah.
And when I'm in Calgary, the thing I miss the most is our tacos. And so we sell tacos at one of the restaurants that I'm involved with up there now, so I can get my fix that way. And there certainly are. I'm seeing new sushi places cropping up all the time, so I'm able to get my sushi fix down here.
Yeah, do you have a favorite so far?
I kind of frequent all of them, and there's one in Versailles that's very good, but I kind of like, if I can, I like to just kind of walk everywhere, but I find the ones in town. There was one that just opened up actually just down the street here, and they're all good. I haven't had the quality of the restaurants and stuff here. It's just for what people pay. It's You know, when I hear people coming down to Vallarta and staying in an all-inclusive resort, I'm like, you're missing out. It's such an easy walkable town, and just to explore, and that's what I love to do. Is I tend to be a creature of habit. It's getting off the beaten path and finding a restaurant that I haven't been to before, and there's a lot of them, even though I've been here so long. Like, we all tend to be creatures of habit and go to our favorite places, but there's so many great new places to explore and try. So my list of places that I would classify as being favorites is pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is. All right. If you were going to meet some guy, a friend of yours was coming in on a ship, and you had some work to do. You had to work at the restaurant, or you had to go to Rise, but you didn't have enough time to take him anywhere but one place. Where would you drop him off?
That's a tough question. You know, I'm a little traditional, maybe. I mean, I'd mentioned before, I have family in Mexico, and to me, whenever I went to a new city in Mexico, a different state, I would always go to the Zocalo, the center of town, where it was where the city hall was, and the cathedral, and a square. And so anyone that comes in town, if I don't have time to sort of tour around, that's where I take them, you know, right in front of the big cathedral. And from there, it's so walkable.
Yeah, totally walkable,
And they can find whatever they want. You know, if they're in the mood for a beer or dinner or whatever, whether it's walking down the Malecon and then going across the river into the Zona Romantica, and whether they want to go a little further down by the, you know, I'll kind of point them in the direction where things are, but, you know, down on the beach, kind of more near the Blue Shrimp and La Palapa and that area, and Playa Los Muertos. And so within a 15-minute walk, pretty much, you know, 15, 20 minutes, they can find everything they can possibly. And I think really, but I love having people start in that part of town, because they get more of a sense of kind of the heart of Puerto Vallarta, where, you know, that's the government buildings and the cathedral, and then going out more. You know, sometimes when people are just kind of end up just being launched straight into the middle of the tourist area, they miss a little bit of that charm, and it sort of helps them tie everything together, you know, and it's a short, you know, if they want a little exercise, it's just, you know, a short 1,000 stairs or whatever up to the Mirador, and get the whole view of the city and the bay. It's but yeah, that's where I would probably drop someone off, with a little directions as to some things to see, but very walkable to almost anything you want from there.
Yeah, exactly right. Wow. Okay, this is fantastic. Hey, what if you had a day off? I know you're a working man all the time. You're a busy guy. But if you had a day off, where would you go? We're coming back the same day now.
You know, it's funny you say that, because there's a couple things. One, I would love more time to. I love performing. I love singing. And if I had a little more time, just to, you know, sit in my house and play my guitar and sing some songs, and I don't have enough time for that. That's probably one of the first things I would do.
Really, yeah.
But aside from that, you know, it's almost. And I think we're all guilty of it a little bit, but I'm almost embarrassed to say, like, I've been here 8 years. I've never been to Guadalajara. I've traveled around the bay a little bit. I love going out to Hecho and further south on the coast there, where it's just, there's almost, you know, I think partly being a geologist, I just love nature, and I love getting out of the city and kind of seeing what, you know, just getting out in the jungle and walking up a river and whatever. So I'm more partial that if I had a day off would be to get out of the city and find a pristine beach, or you know, see if I could climb up a mountain or something like that.
Very good. How about 3 days off now? You're going to go to Guadalajara. I can tell right now. If you're going to get 3 days off, that's where you're going, right?
Yeah, that's definitely been on my list. Like I said, I'm almost embarrassed to say I've never been there, but it when I go there, I want to give it the time it deserves, and it's I've just been so busy with all this business stuff and trying to manage these businesses through COVID, and then when COVID happened, I was actually out of the country here for about 10 months. I had to make a decision. I had investments here,
right?
Just where, and all of a sudden my whole business model was based on traveling back and forth, and I realized I couldn't do that, and so that whole COVID thing, really sucked on a whole bunch of different levels for everybody around the world, and I think we're still just kind of coming out of that, but you can feel the energy in PV, and so many people are just so happy to be traveling again, and be somewhere beautiful, and so it's such a friendly, warm feeling. Just you can feel the energy of all these people and it's not just foreigners, it's Mexicans and people from other states and people from Guadalajara, and even just all the business owners here, the local business owners breathing a sigh of relief that they kind of got through that, and it was a tough time for
absolutely
for
was
everybody.
Yeah, it absolutely was for everybody. It was all over the world. If you had a word of advice for a first-time visitor to Puerto Vallarta, what would that be?
A first-time visitor, I would say, if you can, I don't want to say anything bad about the, all-inclusive resorts or whatever. They're beautiful, but whether you're staying there or not, if you have the opportunity to come downtown and, before you come, try to learn a few words of Spanish, and the locals here certainly appreciate when people try. I'm sure it's frustrating if after a period of time they have to try to listen to someone, so they'll quickly switch to English to probably make it a little easier. But Puerto Vallarta is becoming this great, really international city where you hear so many different languages. English, Spanish, French, German. You fly into the airport and planes from all over the world. It's really growing up to be a true international city, and I think it's getting out and exploring some of that. And that would be. It's such a walkable city. I think that would be my advice. And and like I said, I think a great place to start is in that main square in front of the cathedral.
Yeah.
And then from there, just kind of, I think you get a sense of kind of the heartbeat and some of the history, and walk up some of the streets in Gringo Gulch where you see some of the old homes like around Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton's house, and get off the main streets a little bit. There's so much charm and character off the little cobblestone streets and whatnot, and the flowers and the trees, and the project they're doing on the Rio Quali just over here. I mean, they put a lot of work there. It's beautiful, and it's such a oasis of tranquility, just minutes off of the bustling streets and stuff. And so there's I think
so.
just
Don't miss that.
Yeah.
Don't sequester yourself in your resort.
And
get out.
My advice would be, and even if you're down here, is to walk. And someone might say, maybe if it's 4 a.m, you had a few beers.
Don't.
Probably an Uber or taxi is the best way to go. But if you can, if you're physically able to, walk where you're going, it's such a walkable town, and the things you'll see, little corner stores and restaurants and bars and just beautiful nature and birds and flowers. It's the house I live in, the current house I'm in, 5 years, I don't believe I've ever taken, the only time I would take a taxi or an Uber is if I'm going to the airport or something.
Right.
But if I go out, I have never taken, I've always walked.
You've walked.
All the time. And it's just, and I always see something a little different, even though I've taken that same route, a whole bunch of times. So I think that would be my advice.
Get out and do that. How about words of warning? Any words of warning?
I think it's like anywhere. You need to be a little careful. I would say in the tourist season, unfortunately there's always a few people everywhere. It happens in Calgary where I'm from at the Stampede. When the Calgary Stampede's on, you get people that come in to just look for opportunities where they might be able to take advantage of someone and it doesn't happen that often here. I would just say to, make sure just for people to just be aware, that, but, the thing, it's sure there's probably a few cases, pickpockets and situations that people can get into. I mean, I'm hesitant to say one thing, and I'll decide later if I might ask you to cut it out of the, but, especially, I'll say this, especially with some people in the LGBT community here, there are, there's apps where people are on vacation and they want to meet people and they want to have fun. And so I get it. People are excited and they probably do things a little in excess than they might do at home. But there's certainly situations where I've had, put it this way. There's two rules I have at my house if I have a house guest. Rule number one is don't piss off Maria. Maria manages my house. That's rule number one. If you piss off Maria, you're gone, and you can go find a hotel. But my other rule is if you meet someone and want to bring a house guest over, you can't. And I say if you wanna do that, you're more than welcome to find a hotel somewhere, whatever.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's situations where I have friends that have been assaulted and even aren't living anymore. One of my friends was killed by someone that they brought home. And it's not talked about a lot here. It doesn't happen that often, but it's just being, and it's a rule I have. Anyone staying at my house, you can't bring anyone back. And even though these are friends of mine, and I know, but they might not have the best judgment. I said, once that person's in the house, you don't know who they are. And I want to be very clear about this point. I'm not making that point about anybody specific. That could be people that are foreigners. It could be people from any walk of life or anyone that you meet on the street that you don't know. And so I want to be very clear about that. You have to be just as careful about foreigners you meet in this country as anyone else. And I'm not going to say anything more about it.
No, absolutely.
But I have a rule. That's one of the main rules I have in my house. And there's a lot of the hotels that don't allow people in. And it's because they've learned that their guests were getting assaulted or worse. And they're doing it for their protection. And so it's just being careful. And I don't want to, I'm not trying to I'm only commenting on it because you asked me, but it doesn't get talked about a lot. And I think if people did talk about it a little more, it's just so you've got a little more street sense.
Yes.
And if it's late at night and you've got that radar going off in your head that maybe it's not the wisest thing to do, then maybe wait until the next day when you're a little more sober. And if this is a person that you really think is great to meet, then maybe meet them at the Starbucks or your local coffee shop the next day instead of doing something at the spur of the moment if you just have if that radar is kind of going off in your head.
Excellent idea. And by the way, I have a lot of friends here. I stay at their places, and I never bring somebody home to their house, ever. And so, gay or straight, this is something that it applies both ways. So keep that in mind. That's really great advice. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. Single out the LGBT community. I'm part of that community, so I think I can speak to it. But certainly that advice would go to anybody. Yeah, but I'm so glad that you brought it up. All right, is there something that we've missed? Is there something that we haven't talked about?
I would just say something that's important to me and that I think to reiterate is that I really think there's a responsibility here for those of us that have come from other places whether we live here, whether we're here for a week or a month or a year or 10 years, that what makes this city great is, making it great for everybody. And, as the prices of real estate goes up, the people that are from here, unless those families own property here, they're having to commute further to work. And, there's a scenario where you could see where people could be a little resentful from it if they don't feel like they're a part of it.
Yeah.
And so part of what, going back to something like Rise, where, part of the aspect of the talent show is finding people that discovering new talent, and those are ways we can get people involved that feel part of the community here. And certainly all the theater owners here are very open and receptive to those things. But then also, that orphanage, it's from where we're sitting, it's like a 20-minute walk from here.
Yeah.
And the more we can do, especially as guests or foreigners in this country, to do what we can, and whether it's, a little bit of time, a little bit of money, and quite often it's the time that's the most precious commodity. But get involved in something, and if we look hard enough, there'll be something that we will find that's everyone's got different causes, whether it's for pets or kids or cancer or but there's a lot of people here that need help, and reach out for those things and find them and get involved in something. And I think the people that, if they do that, they'll find it's a really rewarding. It will be a very rewarding thing that they'll be very happy that they got involved, and they'll feel more part of the community. And so it's a win-win.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Well, Vallarta needs more people like you, Allan. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to thank you for helping those folks over at Rise who need that, and what you have done for them is amazing. To me, my hat's off to you. And thanks for talking about what's going on in town and about your journey here. And I'm looking forward to coming and visiting in the Las Terrazas over on Basilio Video. Huh?
Yes, you'll be. You'll be one of the first that I'll let you know.
Send me a message, and I'll let you all know when that happens, and I'll have pictures of it in the show notes when that does happen. Meantime, I'll have a picture of Allan's smiling face on the album art all the time, so you can check that out, of course, at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. And Allan Carswell, I want to thank you so much for coming and for letting me introduce you to my audience. I truly appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Barry, and thanks for having me. It was a pleasure meeting you, and and thank you for doing what you're doing as well.
Thank you, Al. What'd I tell you? I told you he was a busy guy. And I have photos of the tunnel bar at Las Terrazas on Basilio Video in the show notes, and I have a link to their Facebook page, of course, and their Instagram page, and a map, too. It'll take you right to the front door of the tunnel bar. And I don't know if you remember this, but we were talking about the tunnel bar with Kevin Anthony the other day. He said it was his favorite place. I'm going to have to go over there and see how their margaritas are. According to Kevin, they can pour Grey Goose, but who can't, right? Grey Goose is easy. Let's find out how they do with margaritas. Allan is playing Sam again in Mamma Mia for another season. So if you haven't seen that yet, or if you want to see it again, I have a link to their schedule over there at Act 2 PV in the show notes, as well as links to Al's bar and restaurant in Calgary. It's called the Civic Tavern. You can check out his bar in Canada if you are in the area. All right, well, that should do it this week. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember that this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, well, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com. That's JR's website. Go there and reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, this is a value for value proposition. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you're going to be using someone else. So do it, really. And when you do take one of these tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, he's got his maps, his DIY tours, and I have links to all of those in the show notes as well. Once again, if you like this podcast, well, please take the time and subscribe, follow, share with a lover of Puerto Vallarta, or hey, give me a good review wherever or however you happen to be listening to this podcast. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, why not? You really need to have a look there. I have links to the places we talk about, interesting pictures and more right there in my blog posts and in the show notes for each episode of the show. So check it out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Thank you to Allan Carswell. You are a busy man with a heart of gold, my friend. And thanks for all you do for Rise and for lots of folks in Puerto Vallarta and in Canada, friend. Make sure you catch Mamma Mia or a seat at the Tunnel Bar. Thanks to Lucy Murias and Josh from Hecho on Mano PV. Make sure to like their page and watch for their shows. And thank you to Daniel Solis from the band Monaco and the Rocket Man Show at the Palm. I have links to hook you up with everything that Daniel Solis does in the show notes at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. And thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this podcast, this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
De Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino interno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta.